Morning, Dave. You alright? Hi, Georgie. Georgie's gone right off me ever since the laying season's kicked in. She's just gone right off me. Let's see what we've got in there. There was a goose egg in here yesterday. That's a duck. And she's obviously kicked her egg out. And it's gone somewhere else. She's been... yeah, that is a duck egg. She's been doing that quite a bit of late. So I'm just playing a game of spot the egg. Can't see it, it'll be about somewhere. So there we go, there's the Franconians, yeah. No, Steinbeckers. That's it, get it right one day. And you can see Mrs. Franconian is just behind the back there, doing her impression of a snake. Sat on her nest. No idea how many eggs she's got. She hasn't let me have a look. But she seems quite happy. She's been there for 4 days, 5 days now, something like that. So these 3 girls, they're still in here. They still seem quite happy. I'm not going to move them out just yet. I've got no need to, and they're happy enough just rummaging about in here. So yeah, they're quite happy, just going around here. You can tell that spring's on the way now. Well, it is spring. Spring isn't on the way, spring is here. All of the stinging nettles are starting to come up. I'm yet to find a chicken that will actually eat and help us get rid of stinging nettles. Well, I'm yet to find a creature that will. Quail, let's go in and have a word with the quail. Oh, that was very close. Nearly ended up with squash quail then. Right, try to make sure it doesn't fly out as I come in. Okay, so we've got the 2 white ones there. Noisy one, as you just heard. They came in here at the tail end of last week. These were the 2 that were really ill after being in the brooder with the other ones. Basically what had happened is they were pecked a lot, and quail are one of those creatures that as soon as there's a bit of blood, that's it, they're just in there. And they all get in there and they all attack and they all pick on the weakest ones. So they ended up with not a lot left on the top of their heads. I was unsure if they were going to make it, but they did. They come round, they come through, and they're in here and they seem happy enough in with these other guys. So yeah, that's not too bad. None of them have laid an egg yet, which isn't really that surprising, because I know there's a few other quail keepers who have said that theirs haven't laid eggs yet. But I don't exactly have them on the best kind of surface to be able to easily spot eggs once eggs are laid. But there we go. So yeah, you might have seen the other day on Facebook I put up a post where I said that I was annoyed, upset, down, really cheesed off, and it was a day where I felt I could quite easily have just chucked in the towel. That was Thursday of last week, I believe. What had happened was the last week we just had a comedy of errors, as if it were. To start off with, we had the quail eggs that were in the incubator. They got moved over to lockdown, which is the Janelle 10 I use, and I just put it on my desk and I'm able to keep an eye on them that way. And they were hatching and they were going really well, and I came back one day and the incubator had moved and I was like, something's not quite right there. And then, I won't say who, but somebody in the house owned up that they had opened up the incubator because one of them had got stuck as it was hatching. and I was just instantly in a face palm. I was like, cheers. So any others that are hatching, you've probably now killed off. So the following day, I grabbed them out of the incubator, and sure enough, there was 4 or 5 in there which had already pipped, already started to go round, and the membrane had just gone rock hard and they were unable to hatch. So I was like, great, cheers for that. So I then brought the chicks, the quail chicks, up here to go in the brooder, which is in the barn where the coop is, with everything else, just in that building there. So they went in there and they were happy enough. They were under the lights, they were running around underneath the heaters and everything. There was 13 of them in the end we ended up with. And somehow that night a chicken got into the storage side there and turned off the power. So when I came up here in the morning, they were all dead, a lot of them. It had got too cold for them overnight. Obviously quail chicks are the worst things in the world to try to keep alive, as we've explained before. Once they get to about 6 weeks old, you're okay, but keeping them alive up until then can be a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, we lost a lot of them, which I was absolutely gutted about, because that's the first time I've ever known a chicken to get into the storage bit, even when we've had other birds in there as well. So after dealing with those quail, like they're only little tiny things at that stage, but that was megally upsetting. So after dealing with them, I came out and I'd been looking at one of the girls who was in the nest box, and she wasn't looking, a little bump with the meg, she wasn't looking right. There was something about her that was wrong, because her head was all the way down. I was thinking, nah, she's just poking around, sort of like thing, and no, she was actually she was dead as well. So I was like, bloody hell. So I've lost the quail due to the heat being turned off. Hello, Mrs. Peking. And then I just lost a chicken due to who knows what. So yeah, not the greatest of weeks, not the best of starts, drags you down a bit, but then you look at everything else and you think, right, you know, how can you build up from there? How can you make sure it doesn't happen again? What can you do to move on, basically? So we've had a bit of a think, or rather I've had a bit of a think, had a bit of a chat, and decided that for the immediate future we will keep the quail that are in the cage there, and that's it. We're not going to try and do any more quail eggs. We're not going to try and raise any more quail. We're going to wait and see if we can get hold of some of the proper quail cages and maybe have a look at raising them within the cage, because we can move the cage to another place that isn't here, or to a place that's nowhere near where anyone's going to turn off the power. Look at raising them within the cage and then bring them up here when they're adults, or maybe even just buy in some adults. But for the time being, yeah, we're just going to leave the quail. We've got some banthams, lavender banthams, that are due to hatch out this week, so fingers crossed everything will go right there. So keep an eye on the Facebook page, facebook.com/annoyedad, for updates from there. See, I'll just grab the eggs out of there. Is that one that's just freshly laid? Oh, it is. It's nice and warm and still a bit wet. You see, take that home. Well, don't take it home. Take it straight away to a frying pan. Crack it open in between 2 bits of bread. The freshest egg you'll ever have in your life, and the tastiest. Lovely. Right, I'm going to get on with my chores, and I'll be back in a minute with some slightly happier news and words, hopefully. So I got these guys back on their waterfowl mix. That seems to go down quite well. I've also changed them back to using the old feeder, purely because where I was using the bowl, the seagulls were flying in and they were just helping themselves to anything out of it, whereas they were leaving these ones that are under the trees. They weren't interested at all in those ones. So I've changed them back over to that, and that seems to be working okay so far. Big Dave's just able to get his head through. Keep an eye out, because over the next week or so I will try to record another how we make money from the poultry, because from the last one I said I'd be using the spreadsheet just to work out how much money we spend basically on the birds and whether they're bringing anything back for us that's worthwhile yet or not, and the answer is a resounding they're not currently. We've just ended the one for March, because obviously today's April the 1st. Nothing I've said in today's video is an April Fool's joke, I should just point out and say. So yeah, so we've done the spreadsheets up to the end of March. These gills laid over 300 eggs in March, which I think is quite good, especially with the boys still milling about as well. So we were quite pleased with that. 330 something I think we got from them in March, just from the chickens alone. The ducks and that, they didn't do very well. They're not laying very well at all. I'm not sure why. It may just be an age issue with them, but it may just be something else. I can't quite work it out. So yeah, so anyway, I'll be doing that, and I'll be explaining what we spent, how we spent, and what we're going to do going forward, just to try to up that a little bit and bring us in a little bit more money, and hopefully they'll start paying for themselves rather than costing me lots of money. So yeah, I think that's just about it for today. Just a quick one, just a short one, very quick update. Bit of a sad update, because I was very cheesed off with what had happened with the quail chicks and that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Until the next video, keep an eye on us on Facebook, and please like, please comment, please share, please subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, and by the end of the month I might get 100 subscribers, and that would be fantastic. By the end of the year I might get 1,000, and that would be incredible. So yeah, cheers for watching. Until the next one, bye bye.